How's it going, guys? Dynamite here, coming to you as always from the Digital Warfare 24/7 forums, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a gameplay of Domination on Slums from my good buddy Archer, who is known in our player group as putting up ridiculous numbers of defends when he plays this game type. And it's worth noting that he's actually playing this game type solo here, so whatever successes he makes, he's going to have to make for himself with some limited support from his teammates. So we see him going up to B here. What are his decisions available to him? He could go up the middle and get spawn sniped. No, he is going to go through blue room, and then he is going to cut back to B from this side. He tries to pick up a kill on somebody in graveyard, but he sticks his C4 to the wall, turns back and is able to pick up the spawn sniper, who was indeed sitting there watching B. And is he going to get the cap? No, he is denied from statue, but that's okay. At this point, I really would have liked Archer to have made a class switch to something with either an EMP grenade or smoke, because he isn't going to be able to cover himself here. As we pause and take a look at the minimap, he has three guys back at A, one at the junction of B and C, and none of them are going to really be able to help them out with their present location. And Archer is facing a dead zone on the minimap where enemies could be anywhere. They could be viewing him from graveyard, statue, from blue room, but he's still going to try to pull off the solo cap, and that, as you will see in just a sec, was probably not the best decision. He should have either waited for his friendlies to push up, or he should have just patrolled around the side and tried to push the enemy back in their spawn to make it easier for them to to make it harder for them to push up and cap, rather. Now, as he's pushing into blue room here, he should have heard them setting that tactical insertion back in that corner, but Archer will log that away for later use in this game. Now, you'll see him pushing around the right side this time, which is a really good call because he's pushed left and center before. He does end up getting outgunned there. He was doing a good job of taking cover behind the stairs instead of the pile of sandbags where you would normally push, and I think that's a really good call by Archer. But he still got outgunned nonetheless. Now see, he waited in this case for his teammates to push up, but now you hear hostile lightning strike inbound. So what's Archer going to do? He finally has his teammates pushing up. I think he probably makes the right call here, actually jumping on B and gambling that he's going to be able to get the cap before the lightning strike falls. But no, as you can see there, the enemy gets the quad. But the reason why I think it's okay is that he's going to spawn back with the rest of his teammates, and now everyone's in sync with their spawns. So he and his teammates can push up here, and he predicts those guys, tactically inserting there very nicely. He's going to push up here, and here Archer makes what I think is probably his best decision of this entire game. You can see that there's a turret on top of statue that's going to be locking down the entire B area, and Archer knows that he can't stand in that turret's line of sight. So what's he going to do? He's actually going to position himself between the turret's line of sight and the enemy spawn at C-Dom, and what he's going to try to do is make it so that the enemies can't reinforce the sentry and lock down B even harder, and that'll give his friendlies a chance to deal with the sentry gun and hopefully push up to help. So Archer's going to move up the center, which is really the only line of approach available to him. Picks up one guy, spins around, picks up a couple more as he's headed back towards B-Dom. And what he's trying to do, yeah, he's just trying to keep them out of the zone so that his teammates can push up and establish themselves, sacrificing himself here in the noble endeavor. Now, his hard work up in the graveyard area has earned him a lightning strike and a hellstorm missile. He's going to be able to drop those, and I think he's going to call it in right about here. Yep, he's going to drop that in, and he's going to pick off the sentry gun, and that is going to open things up for his team. Again, there's that guy tacking in the same spot. Guys, if you're going to tack, you need to have a couple set places where you set those tacks, and you need to know to cancel them. So finally there, his team is going to be able to pick up the capture, and at this point Archer is going to go into defensive mode. Now, Archer is someone that knows the basics of domination, which is attack when your team is on a defend when your team is on a 2-flag advantage, and attack when your team only holds 1 flag. So he's going to be content here just to sit back, but then a VSAT comes in, and he's going to see the enemies spawning back on A as the spawns have flipped. Now Archer's going to do a really good move here. He's going to come back and he's going to head glitch on this pallet here, and he's going to pick up the 2 people on A for another 2 defends. Excellent work there, and now he has his lightning strike, his hellstorm again. He's going to be able to call those in and stop the enemy from pushing up to B from C. Now this is really great to see because Archer is transitioning back and forth, attack and defense. Here he's sitting up in blue room, making sure people can't get there, but his teammates flip the spawns again. So at this point, Archer makes what I consider to be a pretty bad decision. He has that sort of shipping crate back behind him that he could head to glitch behind, but instead he chooses to glitch this barrel, which is really not very good at offering cover, and he's going up against 3 guys that he can see there on the VSAT who have a very good head glitch right over there. So he pushes out, engages. That probably wasn't the best decision. If he had a C4, he could have thrown it over there, but he did not. So Archer is now going to try to reestablish himself up at B dom. You can see him pushing into blue where he will have an excellent line of sight on their spawn at C, but the enemy end up pushing down a different pathway down the right side and through the middle. So at this point, Archer is going to be using some jump shotting, and he is going to be positioning himself. Look how he shoots and moves and shoots and moves. Shoot and maneuver. That is the name of the game here, as Archer is picking up those defends left and right. He can see them spawning at A-dom, so he tosses a C4 over there, gets the hit marker. He probably thinks the hit marker wounded them enough that he could have finished them off shooting through that smoke. That was a reasonable assumption to make, I think, but it does end up getting him taken out. You can see him switching back and forth to this TAC 45 here. It really is giving him a good protected mobility option. He can sprint without worrying about getting taken out. There he throws a C4, and watch, he waits to detonate it, and that's a really good call in my opinion. You don't always just want to throw the C4 and hope for the best. What that allowed him to do was actually move through the smoke and engage that other guy, but he did have a superior line of sight and head glitch there. So now Archer's going to try again with the C4. He gets a headshot, and now here is how he makes up for the lack of stock. Watch, check this shit out. He jump shot. Really good move by Archer there, making up for that lack of stock and giving himself that horizontal mobility. He probably could have played that a little bit better on that Semtex, but let's let bygones be bygones. You'll see him pick up a kill with his TAC here, and then if we pause it at the same time, we realize that a teammate got taken out back in Graveyard, and Archer has this level of awareness where he can be taking out that guy with the TAC and planning how he's going to kill him, and still realize that his teammate died back in Graveyard. So watch this. He turns around from blue and throws a preemptive C4 into Graveyard, picks up the final kill to end the round, and now we're going to move into the second round.
How's it going, guys? I'm back to bring you the second half of this gameplay from Archer. I'm actually recording this gameplay in 2 different sessions because my voice was starting to give out and I was still a little bit sick last night when I was recording that first half. So here we see Archer once again running a route towards B, and watch this. Do you see that little hop there? That's to throw off spawn snipers so that he can successfully negotiate his way around to blue room. He's going to throw a C4 there to check anyone coming through blue before he sits down. And now let's take a look at the minimap real quick. You can see that Archer has 2 friendlies that look like they're about to go in and enter blue. So Archer's like 2 pairs of eyes in blue room. That sounds good to me. I'm going to watch middle, and I'm going to watch statue where I can see on my UAV that there's going to be a player. Now let's see what happens. Okay, so his teammates actually turn around right at the same moment that a enemy player comes into blue. Archer really couldn't have done a whole lot about that. I think he made the best use of the information that he had, both on his minimap and from his point of view. So Archer's going to push in here now, and he's going to throw that C4, pick up a guy behind the counter. Now right here, just a beautiful mind game from Archer. He sees the 2 guys coming up from A spawn towards middle on his UAV, and what he's going to do is, instead of gauging them right around the corner at that barrel where he died earlier, he makes a much better decision this time, which is another option that he could have used when he died at that previous location. He actually sprints past the hallway, making as if he's going to A, and then he doubles back and engages from the side of their own spawn. So what guy is going to expect someone to hop back out of the direction they just came from, where their whole team is spawning, and engage them? He catches these 2 guys completely by surprise, and it's mind games like this that really set the decent players apart from the really good players, the ones who really play mind games with their enemies. Now, he is going to take out this guy to complete the triple kill, and then he gets hipfire sniped by a sniper who meets him right between blue and that stairway. Now, Archer getting sniped there, I can tell by his playstyle already that he's extremely pissed by it. He's pushing up very aggressively. He's going to throw a good C4 here and pick off 2 people. It's really good to think about C4 as not being a linear weapon. You can throw it over things, you can throw it through things sometimes, and Archer has a really good grasp of that. Look how aggressively he's engaging in the enemy spawn here. What he's going to do is he's going to sit right outside the point where he would flip their spawns, and he's going to try to intercept them. But as you can see, some of his teammates are getting direct line of sights into the enemy spawn, which is flipping the spawn over to C-dom. So Archer's going to take a opportunity to capture A, and then he's going to push back, and he is going to try to contain them at C. And that's basically the way that the rest of this gameplay is going to go, with Archer playing extremely aggressively, sitting just outside their spawn so that he doesn't flip it. His teammates do end up flipping the spawn by putting their sight lines down towards where the enemies are, and then Archer's just going to go back to the other side, and back and forth and so on. his team's far enough ahead that he's won by this point, so Archer is just going to see how many kills and defends he can get here, continuing to rack up his impressive score. With the rest of this gameplay, I'm going to sort of deviate from the play-by-play analysis that I've been giving, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think about Archer's class composition here. The first thing I'm going to critique is that I think his use of fast mags, the TAC 45, and fast hands, the perk, are a little bit redundant, and here's why. So the AN94 already has a very fast reload cancel. I think it's very intuitive. You can get mags back ready to go very, very quickly, but Archer seems to think that he both needs fast mags and he needs a fast swap secondary and he needs fast hands to make that swap even faster. I honestly think that's a little, like I said, a little bit redundant. We only saw him get 1 kill with the TAC 45 in this entire game. Sure, it does mean that he can sprint with high mobility while keeping himself covered with the TAC, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like he needed it that much, and if he just sprinted with the knife and switched back to his AN94 when he needed to engage, I feel like he'd be just fine. I honestly would have cut my class down to include just one of those items that he has on there between the fast mags, fast hands, and the TAC 45. Any one of those is going to put you in a situation where you can pretty easily defend yourself if you're running low on rounds, and allow you to either switch back to your primary weapon from your knife if you're not using the TAC 45 and still retain that high mobility advantage. So I'm not really sure what I think about that. I guess Archer's just a guy that likes to move around a lot, and he feels like he really needs to always have something that he can fall back to rely on. What I honestly would have done is I would have swapped that out for a tactical, and that is my second biggest critique of Archer's class in this case. We see time and time again situations where he's trying to cap a flag and smoke would have been invaluable, or times when he's trying to push towards 3 enemies that he sees on his minimap, for example, and he doesn't have a stun grenade or an EMP grenade to prepare his route as he's trying to engage them. So that is one thing I would really, really like to see from him. Maybe to improve, but overall, absolutely extraordinary gameplay from Archer. You see there 67 kills, 14 deaths, 19 defends, again living up to his reputation as getting a shit ton of defends when he plays this game. Archer is an absolutely fantastic Call of Duty player, and I'm very happy to have been able to have reviewed his gameplay, and I think I've learned a lot from it. Till next time, guys.